There is a version of you that is already dead. You just haven't buried it yet. You keep waking up to the same morning, the same weight in your chest, the same face in the mirror that you've learned to look past rather than look at. And somewhere, deep beneath the noise of your life, you already know the truth. That the person you are today is not the person you were supposed to become. Marcus Aurelius wrote this in his private journal, words he never intended the world to read. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. He wrote that alone, at war, at the edge of an empire, wearing the weight of the world on his shoulders. And still, he chose to rebuild himself. Every single morning. Because here is what the Stoics understood that most people never will. Transformation is not something that happens to you. It is something you must violently choose. Not once, not on New Year's Eve, not when things fall apart, but every day, in the silence before anyone else wakes up, in the moments when comfort screams at you to stay the same. The old you is not your identity. It is a prison you built one compromise at a time. And today, this video is the key. What you are about to hear are not motivational quotes. This is philosophy forged in war, exile, poverty, and loss. These are the 10 Stoic principles that will tear the old version of you to the ground and build something unbreakable in its place. Stay until the end, because the last principle is the one most people never reach, and it's the one that changes everything. Before we begin, if you found this video because something inside you is ready to change, hit subscribe. Not for me, for you. This channel exists for one reason only, to hand you the philosophy that the ancient world used to forge unshakable human beings, and to make it work in your life. Subscribe and turn on notifications, so the next time life tries to break you, you'll already have the tools to break back. Principle 1. Solitude is where the lie ends. Let's begin at the beginning. Before you can destroy the old you, you have to see it clearly. And you cannot see clearly when you are surrounded by noise. Noise is not just sound. Noise is the notifications, the opinions, the social media scroll at 1 a.m., the conversations that feel like company but leave you emptier than before. The ancient Stoics were obsessed with one practice above all others, and it wasn't meditation, it wasn't journaling, it wasn't cold showers. It was solitude. True, brutal, uncomfortable solitude. Retire into yourself as much as possible. Associate with people who are likely to improve you. Welcome those who you are capable of improving. The process is mutual. Seneca. Seneca didn't say escape the world and never return. He said go inside, go where the performance ends. Because here is the terrifying truth. Most of the life you are living right now was not chosen by you. It was inherited. It was absorbed. It was performed for an audience that wasn't even watching. You laugh at things you don't find funny. You chase goals you don't actually want. You carry identities built by fear, not by choice. Solitude strips all of that away. And what's left, the raw, unfiltered you, is both terrifying and sacred. Because it's real. Epictetus, a man who was born a slave, who had no political power, no wealth, no freedom of movement, wrote something that stopped philosophers in their tracks for 2,000 years. Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. Even in chains, literally in chains, he had something no one could touch. His inner world, his solitude. And here is the question you need to sit with today. Not later, not when life calms down right now. When is the last time you were truly alone with yourself? Not distracted, not scrolling, not filling the silence. Truly alone. If the answer makes you uncomfortable, that discomfort is information. It means there is something inside you that has been waiting to speak. Something the noise has been drowning out for years. The first act of destroying the old you is this. Go silent long enough to hear what it's been trying to say. Principle 2. Your pain is not your identity. There's a trap that the old you has fallen into, and it is one of the most dangerous traps in human psychology. You have started to believe that your wounds are who you are. The failed relationship, you carry it like a verdict on your worth. The broken family, you wear it like a coat you can never take off. The mistakes you made 5, 10, 15 years ago, you rehearse them like a script you've memorized. The Stoics had a name for this. They called it false judgment, the belief that an external event has the power to define your internal reality. It is not things that disturb us, but our judgments about things. Epictetus. Read that again. It is not what happened to you. It is what you decided what happened to you means. And here is the most important sentence in this entire video. Listen carefully. You are not your history. You are your response to your history. Those are two completely different things. Marcus Aurelius lost children. He watched Rome crumble at the edges. He was surrounded by betrayal in his own court. He wrote in his Meditations, his private journal, remember, never meant for publication, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." The obstacle was not the end of the path. The obstacle was the path. Your pain, every part of it, is not evidence that you are broken. It is raw material. Every scar is a data point. Every wound is a lesson. Every loss is a school you attended. The question is not, why did this happen to me? The Stoic question is, what am I being forged into through this? The old you chose to be defined by what hurt it. The new you chooses to be shaped by what it survived. Principle 3. Kill your excuses before they kill your potential. Let's talk about the language of the old you, because the old you has a very specific vocabulary. I'll start Monday. I'm not ready yet. Things will get better on their own. I don't have time. I'm not like other people. My situation is different. You know these sentences. You've lived inside them. Some of you have been living inside them for years. In Stoic philosophy, an excuse is not an explanation. It is a choice, a deliberate decision to hand your power to circumstance. How long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself? Epictetus. Epictetus did not ask this gently. He asked it the way a doctor asks about a wound you've been ignoring for years, with urgency, with frustration, with love, because the excuse is not protecting you. The excuse is the mechanism by which the old you keeps the new you locked in a room with no windows. Every excuse you accept is a brick in the wall between who you are and who you could be. The Stoics practiced what they called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. They would sit quietly and rehearse everything that could go wrong, not to catastrophize, not to worry, but to destroy the power that fear had over their decisions. When you preface every hard decision with "I'm not ready," you are giving the future the power to hold you hostage in the present. The Stoic answer is simple and it is brutal. You will never be ready. Start anyway, because readiness is not a feeling you wait for. Readiness is a feeling you build through action, through repetition, through the deliberate choice to move before you feel safe doing so. Kill the excuse today, not metaphorically. Write it down, name it, and then refuse to let it speak for you one more time. Principle 4. Discipline is self-respect in action. Let's be honest about something. Motivation is a lie, not a harmless lie, a dangerous one, because motivation feels like a force you can count on. It arrives like lightning, bright, electric, overwhelming, and then it leaves. And when it leaves, if you have nothing else, you go back to who you were. First, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Epictetus. Not feel what you have to feel. Do what you have to do. The Stoics were the most disciplined thinkers in human history, not because they felt like it, because they understood something about the nature of identity that modern psychology is only now catching up to. You do not act according to who you are. You become who you are by how you act, every single day, especially on the days you don't feel like it. Marcus Aurelius woke before dawn every morning of his reign as emperor. He didn't need to. He was the most powerful man on earth. He could have slept until noon. He could have spent his days in pleasure. Instead, he wrote, he trained, he reflected, he prepared, not because it was easy, because it was who he had chosen to be. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Marcus Aurelius. That is the most disciplined sentence ever written. The reminder that time is not infinite, and therefore every moment of laziness is not just a lost hour. It is a vote against the version of yourself you said you wanted to become. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is the highest form of self-respect. It is the declaration that you take your own life seriously, that you are not willing to let your moods decide your destiny. The new you is not built on inspiration. It is built in the dark, when no one is watching, when it would be so easy to stop, and you don't. Principle 5. Discomfort is the language of growth. The Stoics did something that people today find almost insane. They voluntarily made their lives harder. Seneca, one of the wealthiest men in Rome, would periodically live for days as if he were a poor man. He would eat simple food, wear rough clothes, sleep on a hard surface, not because he had to, because he was training. Set aside a certain number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare. Then ask yourself, is this the condition that I feared? Seneca. Do you understand what he was doing? He was removing the power that comfort had over his decisions. He was proving to himself that he could survive without the softness he'd grown used to. Because here is the psychological truth that the old you has been running from. Your comfort zone is not a safe place. It is a slow erosion. It is the place where potential goes to die quietly, without drama, without ceremony, just a slow fading of who you could have been. Every time you choose the comfortable option, every time you hit snooze, scroll instead of study, avoid instead of confront, you are reinforcing a neural pathway. You are teaching your brain, this is who we are, and the brain believes you. But the opposite is also true. Every time you choose the hard thing, the cold shower, the difficult conversation, the early morning, the terrifying first step, you are carving a new identity into your nervous system. Discomfort is not the enemy of growth. Discomfort is the signal that growth is happening. The burn in your muscles means they are changing. The awkwardness of a new skill means your brain is rewiring. The fear before a brave decision means you are operating beyond what the old you thought was possible. Seek it, deliberately, intentionally, because the new you is forged in the exact moments the old you would have run from. Principle 6. Master your inner narrative, or it will master you. There is a voice in your head. You know the one. It speaks in the second person. It says things like, you're not good enough. You'll probably fail again. Who do you think you are? People like you don't change. And for most of your life, you have treated this voice as truth, as authority, as evidence. It is none of those things. It is the echo of every criticism you ever absorbed and decided to keep. People are disturbed not by the things which happen, but by the opinions about the things. Epictetus. The Stoics were obsessed with one question above all others. What is this really? Not what does it feel like? Not what am I afraid it means? What is it, objectively, actually, stripped of every story I have layered onto it? A failure is an event. It is not a sentence. Criticism is information. It is not a verdict. Fear is a signal. It is not a stop sign. Marcus Aurelius trained himself relentlessly in this practice. He called it seeing things as they are in their naked reality. When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. But I have seen the beauty of good and the ugliness of evil, and have recognized that the wrongdoer has a nature related to my own. Marcus Aurelius. He prepared. He named the thing. He removed its power to surprise him. The inner narrative of the old you is a script written in childhood, edited by fear, and rehearsed so many times it feels like fact. The work of the new you is to become the author, not the character. To rewrite what you tell yourself about who you are and what is possible. Start with this. Every time the old voice speaks, do not silence it. Answer it with evidence, with logic, with the Stoic precision of a philosopher, and over time its power will break. Principle 7. Let go of what you cannot control. Of all the Stoic teachings, this one is the most misunderstood. People hear, let go of what you can't control, and they think it means, don't care, give up, accept everything. That is not what it means, not even close. Epictetus divided the universe into two categories, not good and evil, not success and failure, but what is up to us and what is not up to us. And he said everything depends on understanding the difference. Some things are in our control and others not. Things in our control are opinion, pursuit, desire, aversion, and, in a word, whatever are our own actions. Things not in our control are body, reputation, command, and, in one word, whatever are not our own actions. Epictetus, the Enchiridion. Your reputation, not in your control. Whether people like you, not in your control. The economy, the news, the behavior of others, not in your control. Your response, your effort, your values, your choices, entirely in your control. The old you exhausted itself, fighting things it could never change, obsessing over what people thought, losing sleep over outcomes already in motion, spending emotional energy on storms it could not stop. And all of that energy, every ounce of it, was stolen from the one place it could have made an actual difference. You. The new you makes a radical decision. I will pour every drop of my energy into what I can actually change. Myself, my choices, my character. And I will release with dignity everything I cannot. This is not passivity. This is the most active, courageous, intelligent decision a human being can make. Because when you stop bleeding energy on the uncontrollable, something extraordinary happens. You become formidable. You become calm in chaos. You become the eye of the storm, not because nothing is happening around you, but because nothing can move you from the inside. Principle 8. The people around you are shaping your destiny. You need to hear this, even if it is uncomfortable, especially if it is uncomfortable. The people you spend the most time with are not just your social circle. They are the architects of your future. Their standards become your standards. Their excuses become your excuses. Their ceiling becomes your ceiling. Associate with people who are likely to improve you. Welcome those who you are capable of improving. The process is mutual, for men learn while they teach. Seneca. Seneca chose his company the way a craftsman chooses his tools, deliberately, with purpose, because he understood that proximity is one of the most powerful forces shaping human identity. And here is the part no one wants to say out loud. Some people in your life are not bad people. They are not your enemies. They do not wish you harm, but they are, quietly, invisibly, without malice, keeping you small. Because the version of you they are comfortable with is the version that doesn't make them feel left behind. Your ambition makes them uncomfortable. Your discipline makes them feel judged. Your evolution makes them aware of their own stagnation. And so, unconsciously, they pull, with jokes about you changing, with subtle discouragement dressed as concern, with the gravity of shared history used as a reason to stay the same. You are allowed to love someone and still recognize that the relationship is keeping you from becoming who you need to be. Outgrowing people is not betrayal. It is not arrogance. It is the inevitable result of genuine transformation. You do not need their permission to evolve. You do not owe anyone an apology for refusing to stay small. Audit your circle, not with cruelty, with clarity, and begin building, slowly, intentionally, the environment that the new you requires to survive. Principle 9, Memento Mori, let death teach you how to live. The Stoics carried a thought with them everywhere they went, a thought that most modern people consider morbid. The Stoics considered it essential. Memento Mori, remember, you will die, not as a threat, not as darkness, as the most clarifying lens available to a human being. Let us prepare our minds as if we had come to the very end of life. Let us postpone nothing. Let us balance life's books each day. The one who puts the finishing touches on their life each day is never short of time. Seneca. Read that slowly. The one who puts the finishing touches on their life each day is never short of time. Most people live as if they have unlimited tomorrows, as if the change can wait, as if the apology can wait, as if the beginning can wait, and then, without warning, the waiting is over, and the life they meant to live remains unlived. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, philosopher, general, father, one wrote to himself, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." He was not being nihilistic. He was being precise. He was using the reality of death to burn away everything that was not essential. What would you do today if you knew your time was limited? Not feared might be limited, actually confirmed, definitely limited. Because here's the truth. It is. It always has been. And the old you has been living as if it isn't. Memento Mori doesn't make life darker. It makes every moment more vivid, every choice more urgent, every day more sacred. The new you does not wait. It does not postpone. It moves with the quiet urgency of someone who understands that time is the only truly non-renewable resource. Principle 10. Rebirth is not an event, it is a daily practice. Here it is. The principle most people never reach, the one that separates the people who transform genuinely, permanently, irreversibly, from the people who try and fall back. Transformation is not a moment. It is not the day you decided to change. It is not the morning you woke up and felt different. It is not the video you watched, or the book you read, or the crisis that shook you. Those are sparks. Necessary, powerful, real. But a spark is not a fire. Well-being is realized by small steps, but is truly no small thing. Zeno of Citium. Zeno, the founder of Stoicism itself, built an entire philosophy on this single insight. The small step repeated, the ordinary moment chosen correctly, the invisible decision made with integrity when no one is watching. Every morning you wake up, you are handed a choice. Not a dramatic choice, not a cinematic choice, a quiet one. Will you be the old you or the new you? Today. Not forever. Today. And then tomorrow. And then the day after that. The Stoics understood that character is not something you discover. Character is something you construct. Brick by brick. Choice by choice, day by day. Marcus Aurelius wrote the Meditations, 12 books of private philosophical discipline, not because he had achieved wisdom. He wrote them because he was fighting for it, every single day. Confine yourself to the present, Marcus Aurelius. Not the future you, not who you'll be when you've fixed everything. not after the weight loss, the promotion, the perfect circumstances. The present you, the imperfect, still becoming, already changing you. That is the only version of you that actually exists. And that version, right now, is enough to begin. You don't need to destroy the old you all at once. You just need to choose differently, once. And then again, until the old you runs out of days. And the new you, the one you built in silence, in discipline, in discomfort, in solitude, is all that remains. The Stoics did not promise you an easy life. They promised you something far more valuable, a life lived on your terms, built with your hands, shaped by your choices, owned completely, unapologetically, by you. Seneca wrote near the end of his life, "It is not that I'm brave enough to face death. It is that I've lived, and living fully makes death far less terrifying." He wasn't afraid, because he had not wasted himself. That is what is available to you. Not perfection, not an absence of pain. A life you actually lived, a self you actually chose. A person you can look at in the mirror, not past, but at. The old you is not your enemy. It was your survival mechanism. It got you here. But here is not where you're meant to stay. So grieve it if you need to. Thank it for the lessons. And then let it go. The new you is waiting. It has always been waiting. Patient, quiet, certain. And it is built exactly one day at a time.